And welcome to yet another episode of the Vuyo Show. Of course, coming to you from New York City, and a very, very interesting and special episode we have in store for you today. If you've ever watched shows like The Bear, shows like MasterChef, or anything in between, then you are a lover of food, cooking, and all things culinary. And today's episode, we are unpacking all things culinary with this up-and-coming New York City-based chef who's all the way from South Africa and is doing wonders in the kitchen. I can't wait for you to meet him, of course. So please, wherever you are around the world, please put your hands together, ladies and gents, for Chef Lanco.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm good, and you do?
I'm good. It's been a while.
It has.
It's been a while.
Yes.
You feel like this place is home now, right?
It is home. Just set up my kitchen over here
I
and
know,
start
right?
cooking.
We might as well just have you. But I mean, there's so much I think that is there to unpack and discuss within your journey. As I mentioned earlier on, like there are a number of different people have references of things based on what they are culturally accustomed to, right? So I mentioned MasterChef, I mentioned The Bear, because those are programs that I watch that are infuse cooking in them, right? Mm-hmm. So there's various different ways in which we relate to things, and for you, you're a chef and but your journey never necessarily started within the kitchen. And I want us to kind of look into the idea of pivoting into a brand new industry, the idea of stepping into a new industry with the same courage and the same strength that you had in the previous one. But before we go into The Bear, I want you to take us into the Olympics and the other stuff that the other national treasury stuff that you kind of accustomed yourself to, which is all the way back in South Africa.
Mm-hmm. So, first and foremost, my name is Kamogelo. People know me as Chef Lanco.
Yeah. AKA?
Yeah, AKA. I'm 21 years old.
Yeah.
And I am a chef. So before that, I used to do gymnastics, right? But the backstory goes back to me doing swimming, right? From the age of 9 till the age of 12.
Yeah.
So I used to do swimming. I got really good at it due to, racism and everything. I had to leave that because there was a whole lot of problems.
Yeah.
And then I went into gymnastics and I immediately just fell in love with it. Everything was just so perfect. I was the only black guy in the whole club, so that was kind of scary where you're the only black guy with a bunch of white people, but it was okay. And then, hard work, dedication, I worked my way up, became the best. I became the best in South Africa in gymnastics.
Hey now.
I became the best in my own category.
Yeah.
And I qualified to go to the Junior Olympics. Now, this happened and COVID started.
So this was quite recent.
Quite recent, yes.
Yeah. Qualified for the Junior Olympics, and then COVID hit. So you didn't end up going, you said, to the Olympics?
No, I didn't end up going. And me not going, passion just went out. And also at that time I was still in matric. So a lot of things were in my hands that I have to qualify, I have to do this, I have to do that, which I couldn't do it. So my passion just ran out. It was a career that I had planned out. I was planning on doing big things, but because of circumstances, I couldn't do it. And then I immediately just went into my second, my backup plan, which was cooking.
Yeah.
I loved cooking with my mom. We'd have times where we'd cook together, play around, experiment on a lot of things. And so me moving from doing gymnastics to actually doing cooking and actually doing good at it, I think that was one of the big achievements that I've actually gotten to experience.
And I think a lot of people could say that they might themselves have come to a career position that changes the trajectory of your entire career, right? Where something happens like a pandemic or maybe breaking a leg or hurting yourself. And in that moment, right, when the discovery that now what you had planned on doing is not going to be happening anymore, how are you feeling? What's going on? Like, are you afraid? Are you angry? Are you upset?
Yeah.
Like, what emotions? Because I mean, I can imagine the devastation that comes with you not going to be able to go to the Olympics. I mean, that's a massive career jump, So share that with us as well.
It was very overwhelming, because you put in so much hard work into this one certain thing because you think that this is going to work out, and you can see it working out.
Yeah.
And then when an obstacle comes in that actually closes those doors, you are frustrated, you are depressed, you do not know your direction, you don't know where you're going. And a lot of these things then change your perspective about life as well.
Yeah.
You're just like, okay, what am I meant to do? What is it that I'm meant to do in this world? So a lot of times, I think that's what happened to me. There was a time where I completely just shut off. I didn't think about my future. I was like, whatever happens, God should just take over. And he did take over. I had a backup plan, got into my backup plan, knew that this is what I was going to do. Obviously, with, support from external people, I got to have a different sight about getting into a different career and knowing that this is what I'm expected to do.
Yeah.
This is what's going to happen, and I need to hold it down as much as possible.
You need to hold it down the same way that you're holding down in the gymnastics
Exactly,
field, right? And make sure that you duplicate that within this particular field. I think that's the honesty and just being real about that experience is so important, that we don't make it seem like, oh, it's rosy just stepping into a brand new space. Like there is feelings of despair. You do feel like you are you're sabotaging what was great that you were doing, or it sabotaged your career because now you were planning on it and now it's not happening. So all these emotions are real and they are true. So I'm glad that you were able to overcome them.
Yeah.
But you also did share with us that you had basically with your mom, cooking was always a thing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like cooking was always there. And I'd like to know what cooking meant for you before the pandemic. So when you were doing it with your mom, or when you were doing it as a hobby at the time, what did it mean to you? Because it obviously meant something different after COVID.
Yeah.
Before COVID, what did cooking and being in the kitchen mean?
It meant quality time. Me and my mom, we didn't see each other eye to eye as per se.
Oh, okay.
She's a single mom. I didn't have a father, so it was a thing of, okay, I'm the man in the house, even at a young age.
Yeah.
So we didn't see each other eye to eye for a while, but then us cooking and us having that moment really meant something to me. It meant that, oh, you actually have time for me.
Nice.
You actually care, and as we cook, we're cooking, we're having fun, but she's also telling me about things about school, about life.
Stories.
About how she grew up. And I actually got to understand that you are not a bad person. You are actually my mother, and I love you. I can actually see the hardships that made us be in this situation where we didn't see each other eye to eye. It was because you were actually looking out for my future.
Yeah.
So it meant a lot, and it still does till this day. I still cook with her. I still make sure that when we cook, we share stories. I share my stories about varsity life, my life. She shares hers about work, everything. And I think that's one thing that we kept it real. It was always like that.
Yeah.
Us cooking together, it's about quality time. It's about sharing. It's about being together. It's about family.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I actually appreciate about them.
That's interesting now that on the other end, right, cooking is being a chef, you create those experiences for others that they are now sitting at the table and they are sharing stories. So it coming from that source is just so interesting to hear.
Yeah.
What meal would you say you and your mom cooked that changed the trajectory of what you thought food was? Like that one meal that you were like, you know what? Food is good.
Yeah. So she made a Sunday course this other day.
7 colors.
7 colors. You can never go wrong with 7 colors. And she she was just creative. You know, she didn't do your regular beetroot and you know how they usually taste. She went all out that day.
Nice.
The chicken was phenomenal. The rice, even the portioning, even the plate. You know, she did these small little cubes of beetroot and she put like 4 or 5. You know how fine dining they do it?
Yeah.
They just skim
Yeah,
things
yeah,
out.
yeah.
4 or 5 there, and then she put like spinach, creamy spinach
Oof,
in the
creamy
center.
spinach.
She put like mash on the side. She put this, and I'm like, oh, Madam, are you a chef or what? You know, and I think that's one of the best meals that I've ever had, and I'd still go back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for those who are watching, might not know what Seven Colors is, it's a South African popular dish that consists of 7 literal colors. So we're not talking theory here. We're talking actual
colours.
different. What would you say is an average, like 7, like what items would be in a...
So you'd have your beetroot, you'd have your pumpkin, which they call it squash here.
Yeah.
You'd have your rice, mashed potato, protein, which is chicken. You'd have creamy spinach and chakalaka.
Okay.
Can never go wrong with that.
If you're still wondering what does that look like, please do go research. Just like Google it. It's so good. It's so good.
It is really good.
You know what's so funny? I've been wanting to do a 7 colors plate here in America. I haven't done one ever since I've been here. Yeah, like it's back home. I loved, even though I was living by my own, I used to like cook 7 colors meals for myself on Sundays. Like it was just a thing. But ever since I've gotten to America, it just never happened. But I think you revived my spirit today.
You should definitely do it.
So, I mean, what I really then also appreciate is that cooking for you comes from a very authentic place, from a homely place, from a place of memories, right? It's not just something that you saw on TV and you were like, oh, that's cool. But there's a story behind it.
Yeah.
Then 2020 hits, right? And I also want to kind of chronologically go and just, go with the story that you're sharing with us. 2020 hits and you have this background of just excellence and, sports and all these things. What would you say that part of your life taught you that when 2020 hit, you had the same momentum to then jump into a brand new career? Because I can imagine that there's certain things that you get to learn in sports that could be life-altering as well.
Yeah.
What would you say those are?
Perseverance.
Yeah.
Perseverance. I think that's the one thing that I didn't have that sports taught me. You get to a certain point in sports, especially in gymnastics, where you're just stagnant. And when I say stagnant, I mean you can't do a backflip, or the bar's too high, and you have to do a double backflip from that bar, and you have to stick that landing, and you just miss it every time, because it's a high bar, right? So it's really high.
Wow.
And if you do that and you don't land, you might just break a leg, right? So it taught me that you need to persevere and you just need to have hope. Just continue doing what you're doing, and that's it. Secondly, confidence. In every sport that I did, you just need to be confident that I can do this, and I'm gonna show them who I am. I know I got this, Not being cocky, not being egotistic, just have confidence.
Yeah.
Keep your head up high. If you did a mistake, at the end of the day, the judges don't only judge your routine. They also judge how you, as a person, hold yourself.
Yeah.
So if they see that, oh, okay, he did a mistake, he didn't land properly, you do one step, you can still come up and be like, and they'll be like, oh, this guy actually acknowledges the fact that I did a mistake, but he's still standing tall and he's still having it, and I think that's one thing that I implied and I put on. I had the confidence to actually say, you know what, I'm going to get into this industry head on. If it's not for me, it's okay.
Yeah.
We can find another plan.
Yeah.
But head on, keeping my head up high.
Wow.
And that was it.
I think with what you're sharing with us today, like I can already imagine, right, that moment when that devastation does come about, but those lessons and those values that you learned then were able to propel you to kind of, stepping into this new space. And so now it's a blank slate, and now there isn't much that you can kind of draw from within the cooking or the culinary space or industry.
Yeah.
What then happens? What happens in 2020? You're in matric. I believe you then matriculate.
Mm-hmm.
Then what happens? Do you go to culinary school? Do you watch enough videos of Chef Gordon Ramsay? Like what? What happens after that?
So after COVID happened, sat down with myself and I was like, I want to go to culinary school. I'm like, Mom, I want to go to culinary school. She's like, okay, how much are the fees? I'm like, here are the fees. She's like, I'm not paying for that.
I love your mom.
She looked me in the eye and she said, I'm not paying for that. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, can you try something else? I'm like, okay. So I applied to be an architect. And I also applied to be an internal auditor.
Interesting.
Right? Because she's also into the accounting field. So she wanted me to head that direction if it's not sports.
Yeah.
Those worked out. But at the end,
worked out in what sense?
Like my applications to varsity,
Okay.
they were approved and everything.
Nice.
So I was ready to go to varsity. I just had to choose where I had to go. And something just hit me in my head. Oh, actually, at that time, I still had, there was a girlfriend at that time that I had.
There's always a girl. There's always a girl in the story.
So she was like, are you really sure you want to do this?
Wow.
And I'm like, I have no choice. She's like, no, you're not going to go to a school, do something that your mom said do it, or do something that you're not in love with, because you're going to end up failing. You're not going to excel in that.
Yeah.
So you got to make a plan. We could do this, we could do that. I was like, okay, you know what? Mom, these schools, they've approved me. However, I'm going to write down a petition. I'm going to ask people for donations. Everybody's going to donate until I hit deposit for the school, the culinary school.
Wow.
And when I get into the culinary school, I'll ask for a sponsorship. She thought I was lying. I did it. I went ahead. I reached 6,000 rands. And then she was like, you know what? I'll pay for it. Because of the dedication. She saw that
you were, yeah.
Yeah, because she saw that he actually wants this. He's going the extra mile. I wouldn't sleep. I would come back home at 8, 9, going around town. Can I please get a donation? Going around shops, getting into shops, people donating 5 rands, 10 rands, 20, 30. It was really one of the most challenging things that I had to face at that time. And for me to come back home with that much money, and for her to say, you know what, this money, that's your pocket money. You'll see what you'll do with that. I'll pay for this. Just don't disappoint. And after her doing that, she just asked me, what is the plan? And I gave a full-out plan. I'm saying, first year, I'm going to go to school. Second year, I'm going to go to school. Third year, I'm going to go to school. Fourth year, I'm going to the US. If you don't believe me, watch. And she's like, okay, we'll see, And 3 years later, 4 years later,
wow.
I'm here.
I mean, there's a plan and there's we'll see.
Yeah.
But I know you had a plan.
I had a plan.
You had like a full-on plan,
Yeah.
and it was like you were
Spot
determined.
on.
Spot on, because I'm like, literally, you're here.
Yeah.
You're here.
It was
like,
spot on. I knew what I wanted. I knew how to get there. And I was like, if this is the way that I'm going to get there, I need to put in the work. I need to put in the passion. Sleepless nights, days where I'm going to be frustrated, but I'm still just going to push on. And so she saw that. First year, challenges are there in varsity, right? So I had the course that I was doing was professional cookery with kitchen management, but with a certain carryover, which is called an American hotel and lodging educational. So it means that we're in the same class. Others, their pass rate is 50% minus 70. So everything that I did had to be 70% and above.
wow.
Right. So me not achieving 70 in maybe like 2 modules, I had to pay more. And she just kept on like paying and saying, you got to do this. I'm still going to support you. I'm still going to be there. And she kept on doing that. And until the end, I'm here now. And she's just like, remember 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you were failing. Look at you now.
Don't you just appreciate mothers?
I do.
Don't you just
So
love
much,
mothers?
so much.
Right? And I guess her seeing that you were actually serious about this and that you are also willing to take it upon yourself to see it through. Because a lot of the times people are like, oh, I want to do this. If I don't get support, then that's it. But, you know, saying that yes, I'm not getting support right now. And those people have every valid reason not to, right? They have every valid reason. And I always tell people that, you know, when people ask me about like, oh, what do you think about families not supporting their kids when they want to get into creative careers, etc. And I always speak about the fact that what are you doing to prove to them that this is going to work out?
Yeah.
Sometimes we must take that responsibility other than ourselves, you know what I mean? To say, you know what, Mom, I'll prove it to you. Let me show you why this thing is important to me. So you being able to do that as well is just incredible.
Yeah.
And what did you focus on? So you mentioned a little bit briefly on what your focus in the curriculum that you were studying. And why I ask you this question is just so that there can be a mind map for anyone who might have interest in the space to then take your plan or take that route or understand that route for them to maybe tap into as well. So what did you specifically study when you were in culinary school?
So it's a lot of modules,
Yeah.
right? But because it's professional cookery and kitchen management, you are brought up into this vast course where you need to learn how to run a restaurant, right? So from costing to beverage to being a waiter to being a dishwasher to being everything, because my school, what it taught me was I had to know how to be a bartender. I had to know how to make a cocktail from scratch, this and that. I had to know how to clean the dishes, what detergents to use. I had to learn linen, how to put linen sheets on your bed. I had to learn how to cook. I had to learn how to manage my books. I had to learn how to, labor costs, food costs. It was a whole lot,
Wow.
and there are some modules which will show you that I'm just not a regular module, but you just have to, put your focus on that, get it in, and that's it. The school that I went to also is an international hotel school in Pretoria. The campus is in Pretoria. So they teach you a lot of things. You also go out on field trips. You learn how to taste wines. You learn different types of wines. Wines from France, South Africa, England. Every single different aspect of the whole culinary field, you get to actually learn that.
Yeah.
It's bits and pieces just put into one course, and then you get to do that.
Interesting. I mean, one would never think that to some degree there's a bit of entrepreneurial business.
Yep.
Because restaurants are a business, right? So
Yeah.
you have just getting those skills and knowing how to fully operate one.
Yep.
And I've heard like restaurants are one of the toughest businesses that you can get into.
Most definitely.
Because it's I don't know what it depends on, but I've heard it's very tough.
It's economy, the economy itself. Knowing what your guests want, knowing the trends, keeping up with the trends. You change, like you fluctuate. So summer comes, you need to change your menu again. You got to do costing for that. You got to do this. You got to know that, okay, my customers like this. If customers don't like peas, they have to like squash. If they don't like squash, they have to like bok choy. You have to be all over the place at one time, and that's why you have people in your team that you can actually delegate those responsibilities to. Then when you guys bring all that together, your life becomes easier as a restaurateur, as a manager, as a head chef, and also as a cook, because then you actually get to know what you're doing, right? Seasonal changes as well. Maybe if you're a restaurant that changes each and every season that change, you also change the interior. That also happens. I see restaurants over here that when they change their menu, they also change the interior. So this means that you need to know, okay, this is summer. There has to be a little bit of green. There has to be a little bit of orange. There has to be this. There has to be that. It's a lot. And this is why most people do not succeed in restaurants
Restaurants,
because it's a lot and they just can't get all of that information at one time.
If you were to have a restaurant, like, have you ever thought about what type of experience that you'd want to kind of give to the people that you are serving? Has that ever crossed your mind?
Yeah, most definitely. That's actually one of the future plans.
Oh, is that in the plan?
Yeah,
Because
it's
your plans happen, so.
It's in the
It's in
future
the
plan.
plan.
Yeah, but yes, most definitely. Especially back home in South Africa, there's a chef that I actually look up to. His name is Wandile Mabaso. So his life story is almost same as mine. Almost, just
Yeah.
a little kid in a big city like this, where you're just a youngling in the kitchen, going around doing whatever it is it takes to make it big.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's one thing that I also want, not only for myself but also for guests, for South African guests to have your Sunday course, but in a very French kind of looking way, with a nice, plating and everything, for also French people to actually come and actually experience African cuisines,
Yeah.
because they do not acknowledge that, which is one thing that I think my goal is. I want people from America, from England, from France, from China, from wherever, to come to Africa, to come to my restaurant and say, okay, there's that chef, let's taste this. They eat that, and then they find out that that's mohod, or they find out that that is chicken feet without even, amangqina. Or African cuisines,
Yeah.
but in a finer way. Make it fine dining, but let it be African.
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
That's the plan. Why America? Like, why did America resonate with you when you were creating the plan? What made sense about it?
Okay, so the plan, plans change, right? It wasn't America the first choice. It was the UK. But America became second choice because, number one, New York City especially is a place where you can actually build a great cook and a great chef. There's a lot of Michelin star restaurants here where you can learn from big chefs who do incredible things. And me coming here was to actually get that, because you cannot get that in any place. The work ethic, how they do things, time management, everything is just different. So me coming here was solely to learn from big legends, the legends similar to Jean Georges, the person that I'm working for, Daniel Ballou, per se, everything, there's a lot of people, Gabriel Cruther, those are people who have excellence, and that's one thing that I wanted to do, learn excellence, take it back home, and do excellence.
What do they do in restaurant? Because in our industry, like, there's, you clap this way. Like, how do you stay excellent in chef, in like culinary world? Is there a thing like that?
No. The only thing is, yes, chef.
Yes, chef.
Yes, chef. If not yes, chef, you say we.
We.
Yeah, that's
it. Okay. What do you say when you break a glass? Or like,
Opa.
you see, I have a little bit of an idea. I watched too much TV. That's the thing. I watched too much TV because all these things I'm telling you, I saw on some TV show somewhere. But okay, I mean that makes sense. And I watched a show called The Bear most recently, and the guy, the main character,
Yeah, comment.
he actually came to New York as well.
Yeah.
To get that excellence before going back to Chicago, to go
Yes.
and kind of then share that with his community. So getting to hear your story and be like, okay, that makes sense.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that makes sense. And I think there's opportunity here to be able to do that, to be able to practice the art of excellence. Because
Yeah.
excellence in and of itself is an art, is a skill. So to be able to be in a city that that thrives on that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a privilege. It is a privilege.
Yeah.
Seeing that there's so many people back home who thrive for excellence, but they cannot get here, or they go to a different place and they just get the bare minimum. It's no.
It's a no.
It's a no for me.
It's a no for me.
I'm sorry.
That's so great, man. And you would classify yourself as a junior chef? Like where would you say right now, the career trajectory of where you are right now is? Like, are you junior chef? Are you sous chef? What are the names? What do you call it in
Oh,
the
okay.
industry?
So with the American, it's a chef de cuisine. Well, it's head chef de cuisine, sous chef, junior sous, and then there's line cook 1, 2, 3. Line cook 1 is the head
Okay.
line cook, 2 is just regular, and then 3 is just regular as well. So I would classify myself right now as head line cook to junior sous,
Okay.
right? So I'd probably put myself around those lines, mostly because it's how I see myself at work, you know, not only myself, but what they also see at work. They see me doing this, they see me doing that, me knowing everything, them coming to me in case maybe the sous chef or the CDC is not on the line, them coming to me and saying, "Come, is this okay? Does this come out right? Is this, you know?" So you kind of had that responsibility to, you know, help out while the big bosses are not there. So
I see. I see.
and then if it's back home in South Africa, it's head chef, executive, I believe, and then sous, and then junior, and then chef de partie, and then kami. So it's almost the same kind of concept, but just different namings to it.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. And your plan is to be a head chef?
Restaurateur.
Restaurateur. So what is a restaurateur? Someone who owns a restaurant.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
okay.
I would own the restaurant, but I'll also be the head chef there. So this means that everything has to just go through me, through my approval. Everything changes in the bar, lounge, whatever it is, that's just going to be approved by me. If so, I need them to be done. Yeah.
What's your favorite meal to prepare? Like, what's your go-to? If they are like, if someone orders this meal, they're gonna call you and be like, Chef Lanco.
You just made my head buzz. Favorite meal every day. It would be lobster. Lobster,
I love a lobster roll.
right? Lobster, sushi. I'm very good with fish. That's
Okay.
yeah, I'm very good with fish. But I also do grill things, but lobster and sushi would be one of the things that people would be like, Chef Lanco, come in, and I'd be there and I'd do it the way that I think is delicious, and people will be satisfied with that. If any other thing, I could come in and make a duck, you know, depending on what people eat. If maybe you don't eat shellfish and everything, then I'll come and make you a duck, come and make you a beef, you know, I'll come and make a Wagyu steak, all of that. It just depends, you know,
Okay.
on the type of person. But yeah, for me, it's lobster.
Seafood.
Yeah, seafood.
Interesting. Because in South Africa, seafood is not a big thing.
Yeah,
it's not
it's-
like a.
No.
It's there,
But it's shaky.
but it's just like, it's not like first choice. So what kind of sparked your desire to tap into and make that a specialty, or is just you're good at it?
I'm just good at that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just good at fish, like myself. I'm still learning, you know, meats and everything. I'm still learning how to butcher them, how to do this and that. But me personally, it's just fish. I prefer fish. I would open a fish restaurant sometime where it's just only fish for, you know, fish lovers and give them their excellence about fish. But, you know, I prefer it being balanced. So there's a fish section, there's pasta, there's this, there's that, there's meats, there's everything.
Wow, I'm learning so much today. I hope that you guys are also learning just about the industry, because I think there are so many things that we don't know about the kind of the behind the scenes to some degree of the restaurant industry. And what would you say are some of the key things that people from the other end now that the kitchen would like us to know as a people that come to restaurants? Like, one thing that like maybe irks you, or something that's like, you know, that you'll be like, people, please make sure that when you come to a restaurant, you know this, and this, or you do this, or you don't do this. what would you say that probably is?
That's a tough one, eh?
Are we that bad as the people? Like we just
No, not
Okay.
really. A guest who comes in and expects their proteins, maybe like a beef, to be cooked under 5 minutes, and maybe you have a high temp, it's not going to work out. No, you cannot expect me to make you a steak, which is medium, in 5 minutes. It doesn't work like that. Unless you want something old, then yes. But freshly made, like everything fresh, because where I work, we make things fresh every day, right? If something happens, it's fresh. Even during service, it's fresh. So for you to come in and say you want a steak under 5 minutes and you want it medium, it's totally absurd. It's no, I'm not doing that. I might as well serve it to you raw.
Serve it to you raw.
Right. You know, that's one thing that I think vexed me the most.
Maybe people are used to fast food, so they don't understand.
But when you come to a fine dining
Fine
restaurant,
dining, darling.
you need to understand there's efficacy.
Yeah.
There's a time period, yes, where you'll be like, okay, it's been 20 minutes and I've been waiting for this. It can't really take 20 minutes, but you can't also expect me to do that very fast. No.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like guests need to just keep in mind that the people down there in the basement or wherever, or in the open kitchen, those people are doing by all means to make them happy.
Yeah.
Our sole goal is to make you guys smile. For me to come in there, I don't want to be there. But for me to come there, it's because I want to make you happy, so that when you go out, you can say, the person who made that steak or the person who made that fish is good. He made that with love and care, and you are happy. My sole priority is to provide and make people happy through food.
Wow.
So I think you guys need, customers or guests need to understand that there's certain things. We all want one thing. You are there for the food. I'm there to please you. I also get paid at the end of the day. You pay me for being there. And you being there, paying me, I also should give you that kind of service.
Best service.
But I have to give you the best. So you can't really expect me to do things. Then that's it. Come on. No.
Quality takes time.
Quality takes time.
Yeah, quality
Yes.
takes time, and I'm hoping that audiences are taking note of that. Next time they're in the restaurant, they think about this conversation and they're like, you know what,
Let's just,
Chef Lanco said.
yeah,
You know?
let's just cut a little bit down. They'll bring it.
Yeah.
If maybe it's underdone or it's too much, then the fault lies under the kitchen or under the restaurant. But if you're expecting me to do something in 5 minutes and you just got here, I can't.
Happen. And how do you deal and manage with just like the stress and the pressure, and I wouldn't even say anxiety, because maybe it's not an anxious space, right? But from what I get to see, again, from watching a lot of TV, is that it can get very stressful in the kitchen. So how do you personally kind of deal with it all?
Well, it comes up to going back to a safe space. That's how I handle my stress. A space where you are accepted for who you are, whether
Yeah.
you are under stress, whether you are not doing good, but somebody being there and saying, hey, you're doing okay. You're doing okay, all right? You're badass. That's what my mentor says. You're badass. When she sees that, he's losing his head now, Because a lot of times what would happen is, it's not only stress from work, right? It's stress also outside of work, because you don't know what people in your life and how they impact you, right? For an example, I used to have a sous chef that would always push me. And when I say push, he'd be like, faster, go faster, come on. You don't want this? Why are you here? Move, go home. It was that crazy.
Like the guy in the bed.
Yeah, like the guy in the bed. Literally like the guy in the bed.
I know, I feel bad. I'm like, oh my God, are you okay? Like, because that's I'm not laughing, but I'm just like, so that's real?
That is real, and sometimes you just bang things. Bah! I'm like, oh, why did you have to do that? Why is your prep not done? Why is this? And I'm like, do you realize you put me in? I came here at 3. Service starts at 5. I have 2 hours, and you want me to prep a whole list that is insane without you even giving me a hand of help. And then he's going to get mad at the end of the day. Where are your herbs? Where's this? Why are you shaking? I shake a lot. Like, naturally, I just shake a lot, especially when I'm plating something that's very tiny, and I shake a lot. So he'd always do that. Why are you shaking? This, that, that itself, it gets engraved in your head, and him doing that, I didn't realize that at the end of the day, he was actually looking out for me. Because then that same person, that same sous chef who was saying, Kamo, go faster, Kamo, do this, when he left the place that I was working at previously, he called me to another place. He was like, come, I want you to be with me. And I asked him, I'm like, why? He's like, because you're good. You are really good. I want you to be the best. I want you to be better than me. I want you to be telling other people to go faster. And I'm like, okay, no, that's not the way to do
You're
things.
You're not going to do it like that.
No, because you tortured me. I'm bruised for life, but it's okay. I'm not doing that to other people, So it's that having to satisfy whoever that you want to satisfy, or showing people, the people behind me that they're just looking. I have a little brother.
Oh, that's
right. Sweet. He's excelling in fencing and school.
Nice.
But in his head, when he goes to school, he always tells his friends, my brother's in the US. He's a chef. He tells the teachers, my brother's in the US. He's a chef. That is pressure.
More pressure.
Because now I have to be an elder brother, but lead by example to him, but also to others, so that they can be like, oh, okay, that's his brother. I don't want to embarrass him. I don't want to come back home and be like, I'm the brother. I don't want to do that. It's a whole lot of things. That's why people who watched that, The Bear, I've watched it, but not really that much. But people who watch that and actually understand that is reality. That's what happens, There's millions of things. Other people want to satisfy people that don't even know them in this world, I know I want to satisfy my father wherever he is. I know I want to satisfy my mother. I want them to be proud of me, so that they can be like, you've made it, and we are happy that you made it.
Yeah. That's so beautiful, man. That's heartwarming. I think it's just, I am like, oh, no, I'm proud of you, and I don't even know you like that. And it's so interesting that you're sharing that, like, what we saw, like, particularly what I noticed about that show, which of course you're referencing now, because it's the most current cultural relevant show when it comes to. Back in the days, it was like Chef Gordon Ramsay. You had your Master Chef a little bit. There were various different types of shows that showed that, like, but The Bear was a lot more in kind of showing us the individual stories that everyone was going through, life outside of the kitchen as well, exactly. And how that could impact your life inside of the kitchen, and all of those things, and personalities that could come into clash or even complement each other. But the man who was torturing the main star, not torturing, was mentoring, he then said at the end, I think it was the last episode, he was like, why did you do that to me? Right? Like, why did you just make my life a living hell?
Oh, yeah. And then he said, because you're here right now.
Because look at you now.
Yeah.
That whole thing was to put you where you are right now. You now a restaurateur that knows excellence. But then in hindsight, with what you're saying, I asked myself, like, did it have to be like that?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Because you could do it in a different way.
Yeah.
There's always different ways of doing things.
Yeah.
But I believe, because I also asked him, I'm like, why are you like this? And he's like, because of the people that I was surrounded with. I'm like, explain more. He's like, the chefs that trained him, nothing that he's ever seen before. Those people are from military. They were military chefs. So they were always hard on him. If he didn't finish prep, he'd have to do 20 push-ups. He didn't like doing push-ups. He doesn't like
So he
training.
excluded that from the training
You
he
know,
gave you.
so now it's 20 for not doing prep. It's 20 at the end of the night when everything is done and he's tired and he's done with everything, cleaning and everything. The chefs are like, all right, go down. Let's go. You got 100 because you didn't do this and this and that and this and that. We were counting it down during the whole day. And now you have 100 push-ups you have to do by the end of the night. On top of that, you're tired. On top of that, you got yelled at and you're traumatized. It defeats a whole person.
But what do you do then to recenter yourself? I mean, I can only imagine. Of course, every industry has its own, has its own thing. But what do you do? Like, do you meditate? What is your recentering practice or exercise that helps you to not fall and crash within that environment?
People are different. For me, it's going out for a run, getting some air, doing what I love, exercising. Exercise really helps, to be quite honest. Go out for a run, and I do that. Sometimes maybe like on hard days, the hardest of days, I'm just like, you know what, I'm not even running, I'm not even doing anything. I'm just gonna get myself a whole bottle of tequila, sit down and drown my sorrows, sleep, But people are different, and with you guys, like everybody being different, others meditate, others do drugs, others do this, others do that, It's how do you react to everything around you.
Yeah.
So sometimes people would be like, oh, okay, no, I'm having this, and then they'll go into the walk-in fridge, shout this, scream, and then come back, and he's perfectly fine. He's gonna work the whole day. Others, they go outside, smoke a cigarette. When they come back, he's a king. Others, when they go out, they just go out, 10 push-ups, come back, he's good. Others just drink water. Others pray. It's all, it depends on a person. But personally for me, I just go out for a jog. I do that mostly every morning because I know that I'm going to have a long day. If I don't do it in the morning, I have to make sure that when I get home, I do it at night.
You gotta have something.
You gotta have something.
You gotta have something. This world is you gotta have something.
Yes.
Just pick one. Okay, at least one. Pick one.
You better be safe though.
You better be safe though.
Yeah.
So what is next for you? What are you looking forward to now? The next, say, couple of years. What's part of the plan? From a chef point of view, what are you hoping and looking forward and anticipating for?
Growth, immense growth. I'm looking forward to working with a lot of great chefs. I'm working with a lot of great chefs currently. My mentor, my CDC, my sous chef, my head chef, the people that I work around with, all great chefs, all great cooks. But there's still room for growth. And I think that's one thing that I'm most certainly going to get. And, that restaurant will come up one day, and I'll be back here again, and I'll say that restaurant is there, and it's earning its Michelin star very soon.
Listen, I'm here for it.
Bringing the Michelin Guide to Africa, as I mentioned. I feel like we, as South Africans, I think, we need to get recognized more. I cannot be walking around in New York City, a whole big, diverse country, and then when I'm saying I'm from South Africa, you're like, where is that? Come on. It shows that we are not really out there yet, and I'm trying to make my whole country be out there, and we get known for culture, economics, our cultivation, everything. We have so many beautiful things back home.
Yeah.
We have the most richest soil, and if people actually knew that here, then they would go to Africa and actually plant their vegetables there, which are organic, and then they'd actually be able to feed people good things than these processed and injected things.
Question I've always wondered, is fine dining restaurant food better than home cooked food, or is it the other way around, or is it the same?
That's a tough one. I don't want to lie to you.
Nutritionally, what would you say?
Nutritionally,
Yeah.
it depends on
Okay.
the place actually. Fine dining back home, nutrition is there 100%, right? Because we get maybe grass fed, we do this, our cultivations, everything, we get it fresh from our farms,
Yeah.
and we just don't put a lot of chemicals or inject anything. Fine dining here, it's kind of difficult, it's kind of different. Sometimes you get a huge ass baby turnip, sometimes you get a tiny thing. It's all, you don't really know which one is nutritious or which one is not, right? However, home cooked, most definitely, there's no doubt about that. Just depends where you source out your ingredients.
The ingredients, because that's where the nutrition kind of lies, right?
Yeah.
I had a friend who was a chef who'd never cooked for himself. Are you one of those as well? Are you like, you eat out?
No. So I'm a person who experiments. If I don't like it, I throw it away.
So you cook for yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think my only flaw is that I cook and I make a huge batch, and then I taste it. It's not good. I'm gonna throw it out.
Oh.
That's the problem. Or if I'm not throwing it out, I might I've learned, like recently, I've got into a habit of, when I experiment, like if I'm making a jus or a sauce, if I don't like it, I'd make mash, put it in a container, and then take it out to like homeless people around here, and then give it out instead of throwing away food that's wasting. So I'll do that. And then after that, I'll just get like pizza after that.
So you do it out. You do.
I mean, I don't really have the time to be quite honest.
That's the thing, the time thing. It's like, it's the time thing that
It's
I've
the
heard
time,
is, yeah.
We don't really have time. I could come back home, open the fridge, get a cold pizza and a beer, sleep. That's my dinner.
Yeah.
In the morning, I don't eat. I just drink water, go to work.
How do you balance work and life? Do you even, like, people in the culinary industry, do they even have, like, for you at this part of your career, in this phase, have you found that the balance is something that, or you're not even considering right now as you're working on becoming excellent in your craft?
Yes and no. It just depends on who you are, right? People, yes, we do have a social life. It's just only 2 days. That's a social life for us.
Which is the average, right?
Which is,
everyone else is 5 days and 2 days rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we get that, but now it just depends how you do it. Because in that 2 days, you might just be like, oh, okay, so on this day, I'm doing laundry, and I'm going to be catching up on this and doing that. The second day, you're preparing yourself to go the next day. So this means now you gotta get your mind in or do whatever. Others, they do all of that, like laundry and everything, they do it like in the middle of the week. Maybe they wake up early, do it in the middle of the week. That way on their off days, they can actually go out to restaurants, have a social life, interact with people. For me, yes, I do. I have a social life. I just don't go out as much.
Yeah, you have friends though. Have you made friends in New York?
Yeah. Most definitely.
Okay.
Yes, friends I have.
Good. You're not just in the kitchen.
No.
That's good.
My friends are in the kitchen, but
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I'm just for me, I just like keeping my circle small, right? So I do have friends, yes. I appreciate them. We hang out almost every day. We work together every day, so we even have similar off days. So we see each other maybe like 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Right now, maybe I might just be like, oh, I'll be there. Those are my friends. And that's it.
Wow, that is like, you're just showing us the whole picture. Like and that's why I'm asking the question that I ask, because I'm always just intrigued by various different industries and what the intricacies in each are. So it's just been interesting learning about yours and just unpacking the culinary world. Just like the bear, I'm now hearing that it's literally the same.
It is literally the same.
It's not like they made those things up. I was speaking to a lawyer on the show the other day, and he was like, well, I was like, I watched this other show called it's on the O Network, something jury. But like, I love watching. How I know about industries is by watching TV. So like, I was like, so is it how it happens in the court? Like, does the one lawyer come in and then he's like, no, Vuyo, that's not what happens. That is all made up. So I was like, what? You just destroyed my entire thought process of like this industry. But hearing now from you that a lot of the things that we get to see, especially specifically in that show, is true. They got 23 nominations for the Emmys, which is
because it's good. It's good.
It's good. Any last words? Anything you want to share? Anything you want to make sure you lay on the table before?
I'm still gonna be great.
Of course.
I'd just like to give a shout out to my mother, as I mentioned, my mother and my little brother. A shout out to them. A shout out to my mentor, Chef Tara Breinman. I think she's going to be watching this as well.
Hello, Chef. Hello, Chef.
A huge shout out to Chef Ken Robinson and Paul Barbasa. Those are my CDC and sous chefs. They made me the person that I am today, so I think I should really appreciate them. And a shout out to my working partners, the ones that I work with when we go for private events. Shout out to them. I'm like this because of them. I'm able to hold it down because of them. I'm here because of them. And I'll always be Chef Lanco because of them. There's no Chef Lanco without them. So a huge shout out to them as well. I
want to just briefly talk about the Lanco situation, because I know your name is not Lanco. I know your name is Kamogelo. So just briefly, before you go, tell us how did this AKA come about?
Oh, okay. So the AKA came about, I was in high school, and there was a guy named Kamogelo. So he called himself Lanco. And then he was interested in me, like interested as in like, he was like, oh, this kid is doing gymnastics, he's good. And then he was like, come chill with me, you'll be Kid Lanco. As soon as he left, he explained the whole story. He's like, no, because he just liked the watch, the Lanco watch, right? And now I changed it up. And I said, you know what? The watch, I do like it, but also it's because I'm always on time. So that's how it happened that Chef Lanco came about. I'll always be on time. The food will always come out on time. Whatever I do, I'll always be on time.
Yeah. I mean, he was on time today, guys. He came way before the time we were supposed to come involved. So he is definitely Lanco.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. If someone is wondering, okay, where do they go and experience this seafood that you do, or your food, and what restaurant are you currently serving and working at right now?
I'm working at Perry Street. It's down by Hudson River Park by Jean Georges and Cedric, so they can just look up on it. We have also we have Restaurant Week coming in, so they can. There's a special running. We're running Restaurant Week special.
When is that? When is Restaurant Week?
Starting next week, Monday.
What's significant about Restaurant Week?
So Restaurant Week is you get to have a 3-course meal at a half price.
Sign me up. Sign me up.
So they can come there.
Nice.
And yeah.
Okay.
We'll do everything.
Well, yeah, go check him out at Restaurant Week and every other week. Yes. Of course, right?
Yep.
That, of course, is Chef Lanco. Of course, you can come back, Chef Lanco. Anytime you want to come talk food. I am always up for a food conversation because I love food.
Yeah. I'm coming with a stove here.
A stove. Actually, you must prepare show us how to do something.
Most definitely.
Show us how to, I don't know, like make a sushi roll or something like that.
No, I'll definitely do that.
Tutorial or something like that.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
everything.
We might be onto something here.
Yeah.
We might be onto something. But thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you had a good time, because I love making sure that my guests are enjoying themselves. So I hope you had a good time, and I wish you all the best on your journey. I mean, New York is a massive city, so I'm definitely wishing you all the best on your journey, and I can't wait to taste your food one day. I can't wait to come to the restaurant and just be like, anyone who's cooking, just stop cooking, because I want Chef Lanco to cook. If he's not cooking the plate, I don't want it. I'll be like, tell the chef, whoever head chef, that my plate must be made by Chef Lanco. Like, that's it. So,
Only me.
but yeah, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, that of
That's
course,
really great.
ladies and gents, is Chef Lanco. I hope that you enjoyed this episode as much as I did, and that you're of course going to be back again to join us right here on the Vuyo Show. We bring you incredible individuals with amazing and interesting stories to share with us, to help us, just navigate life in this world. So Chef Lanco helped us understand the culinary world a little bit better with a pinch of salt and pepper. This is the Vuyo Show. I'll see you all on the next episode. For myself and Chef Lanco, it's goodbye and have a fantastic day. Cheers for now.